I'm a 27-year-old woman who until recently was set to marry my fiancé, Mark, a 29-year-old man. We've been a couple for 3 years, engaged for 6 months, with our wedding scheduled for later this year. Mark has an ex-girlfriend, Sarah, from his college days. They parted ways long before I entered the picture, but they've stayed in touch. I wasn't thrilled about their ongoing friendship, but I tried to stay open-minded and not let it bother me. Sarah had an elderly dog that Mark was incredibly fond of from their time together. Truthfully, I think he was more attached to the dog than he ever was to Sarah. Fast forward to last month. I was driving home from work when I was involved in a severe car accident. Another driver ignored a red light and crashed into my car's side. It was chaos. The details are blurry because it all happened so quickly. My car was destroyed and I was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance. I sustained a concussion, a broken arm, and some internal bruising. I was scared and in pain, desperate for my fiancé to be by my side. At the accident scene, a paramedic used my phone to call my emergency contact. That was Mark. They tried reaching him multiple times, but he didn't pick up. They eventually got hold of my older sister, my backup contact, who hurried to the hospital to be with me. While I was being treated in the ER, my sister kept trying to contact Mark. Eventually, she received a text from him. At the time, we had no idea why he wasn't answering. Later, my sister showed me his message. He was at Sarah's dog's funeral and said he couldn't leave because Sarah needed him more than I did. Yes, you read that correctly. My fiancé knew I'd been in a car accident and essentially told my sister he wasn't coming because his ex's dog's memorial was more important. I learned about this the next day while still in the hospital. My sister, furious, waited until I was stable to share the news, which was probably wise because my heart rate spiked when I heard it. I was speechless, wondering if this was even real. Mark finally showed up at the hospital hours later, long after I'd been admitted, examined, scanned, stitched up, and medicated. By then, the dog's funeral, a small backyard ceremony I later found out was over. When he walked in, acting all worried and frantic, I felt an anger I can't even put into words. He had the audacity to say he came as soon as he could, which was an outright lie. I asked him point blank, "Did you really choose a dog's funeral over being here for me?" He got defensive, saying I didn't understand how much that dog meant to Sarah, and to him, and that he'd promised to support her. There I was, lying in a hospital bed, listening to my fiancé explain why he couldn't be bothered to show up when I could have died, all because his ex's dog, which I'd only met twice, was that important. I told him to leave. I couldn't deal with him right then and said we'd talk later. Over the next few days, I underwent surgery on my arm and was stuck in the hospital, giving me plenty of time to stew. I was livid. Once I was discharged, I finally answered Mark's calls and told him the wedding was canceled. He exploded, accusing me of overreacting. He said the dog was like family to Sarah and to him. I can tell what happened in the short video, full video on my channel link in below.